So in this module, we're going to talk about market failures and government intervention. Market failures, and we'll say government intervention. Long title. And so, in particular, we're going to cover kind of three broad kind of topics or concepts. The first one is going to be about externalities. So we're going to look at positive externalities, as well as negative externalities. So externalities are just, when a transaction or an action between two people or by someone has consequences on other people. And this can have positive consequences on other people or negative consequences on other people. So we'll talk about these two situations and how they end up, externalities, and how they end up causing allocatively inefficiently if we don't kind of internalize the externality or somehow push us to the optimal quantity. And so we're going to talk about solutions with respect to this inefficiency. We're going to see there's an inefficiency with these externalities if we don't account for them. So we'll talk about solutions about kind of making up that inefficiency. So that's the first thing we're going to cover. The next thing we're going to cover is types of goods. So we've been mostly looking at a particular type of good in terms of private goods so far in this course. Now we're going to start to think about, maybe there's different types of goods in this world. And in particular, we're going to concentrate on public goods and common resources. So public goods, and common resources. And we're going to talk about these and define these two goods based on the concepts of rivalry and excludability. So rivalry is basically if me consuming it or me engaging in this activity prohibits or stops you from doing so, that's a rivalrous good, and excludability is the ability to stop someone from using it. So we're going to talk about, both the problem of free riding with public goods as well as the tragedy of the commons when we talk about common resources. And finally, we're going to talk about asymmetric information. Information. So this is when one party has, a different sets of information, or the parties have different sets of information that they're going off of, and this can create if there's an asymmetry in the information, this can cause an inefficiency, is what the word I was looking for, in terms of the market outcomes. And so we'll talk about two concepts related to asymmetric information, which are moral hazard and adverse selection. And potential solutions to these issues. So moral hazard is going to be, you have this hazard or this likelihood that you might want to engage in immoral behavior if you're not perfectly monitored. So if someone's giving you a task to do and they're not monitoring you, you have this tendency to behave in ways that they don't want you to behave, like by shirking, so just not kind of doing the work, and kind of being lazy, or other things that you could be doing. In terms of adverse selection, that's about, sometimes one party has a better knowledge of, the quality of the good, for instance, or the quality of the worker who's applying for a job. And so we'll talk about kind of solutions to each of these issues as well. So that's the plan for this module.